Well, good evening, everybody from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is a wrap, the 2024 Republican National Convention, and we knew that we were going to see Donald Trump, and we thought he would be rested and ready, and he was tonight. He went about an hour and a half tonight to cap off the final night of the convention. Steve Hallstrom, Scott Hennon here with you, putting a close on this great event and a great 4 days of coverage. Before we go any further, we want to thank our sponsors for making this trip possible: Brighter Future Alliance, Lignite Energy Foundation, and also North Dakota Republican Party. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. Well, Scott, President Trump did not cheat the crowd tonight.
No, he never does. You know, it's really amazing. He took a little time to tell the story, and he said it was going to be the last time he was going to do it. A lot of people said, you know, what happened? What were you feeling in that moment in Pennsylvania when he was shot? And he did a really interesting, you know, little TikTok kind of timeline on the whole thing, and I thought that was kind of cathartic. You know, got everybody kind of in a good, and his delivery was much more reserved and calm than it normally is. I think he said Joe Biden's name once. Otherwise, it was, you know, the current administration, or, you know, really didn't. This was not an attack. This was a vision of what we're going to do for the country. And, you know, I think the most poignant moment was when he came over and kissed the helmet of the fallen firefighter from Butler, Pennsylvania. Not a, you know, so quiet, the moment of silence he asked for. Pretty amazing night.
It really was. It started with, we went from Hulk Hogan to an altar call from Franklin Graham.
Yeah.
And then we had kids sitting on Grandpa's lap to Kid Rock turning a 15,000-seat arena into a mosh pit. It was kind of a surreal rally here tonight. And then the president started, and he said, Scott, you'll never hear me tell this story again because it's too painful to tell, giving his recap of how everything unfolded last Saturday in his mind.
No, it was amazing, and you're right. It's too painful to tell. It tells you everything you need to know. In other words, they're not going to make this the thing now till November, but it happened, and people wanted to know what he was thinking. And, you know, he really was gracious to the Secret Service agents, who we now know didn't follow about any protocol. But he was gracious to them and what they did, and didn't blame anybody, didn't do any of that. I thought it was very, very, again, cathartic.
Yeah. It was a great night. I sat behind the stage where I could see the teleprompter. And at the beginning of the speech, he stayed pretty close to teleprompter, but as time went on, you could tell he was warming up, went off the script a little bit, started getting into some stories, elaborating on a lot of details. It wasn't what I would call a fiery speech, Scott.
No, it wasn't.
Very reserved, very subdued at times, but when he needed to step on the gas, he certainly did.
Yeah, he sure did. This place is just busting with energy. I mean, it's unbelievable. He was reserved, but I mean, the message was great. It was all about the future. It was about his vision. It was his greatest hits, obviously, the border and the economy, and I thought he was great on the tax cuts and what they did. I love hearing a president say, you know what, we brought in more, we cut your taxes and we brought in more money for the government. I love when a president points that out, because it's very true. I mean, the statistics will tell you it's true, but he pointed that out today, and it's just been an incredible 4 days. I don't know how anything could have gone better in the speech. He even said himself, he said, not even one speech I didn't like. You know, I mean, it was so well done. He's such a showman. And he knows how to put on a show. Nobody's leaving this town disappointed.
And even though he went for almost an hour and a half and got into some tangents and went down a couple of rabbit trails from time to time, what you didn't hear, there were no ums, there were no ahs, there were no anyway, or I'm not joking, folks. And some of the things that drive you nuts about listening to Joe Biden speak, Donald Trump was on point. And as I was watching the teleprompter and listening to him go into some details, the statistics, the numbers, many of those were off the cuff. So if you were trying to figure out, does Donald Trump still have the mental acuity to do this job, I think he answered that tonight.
Oh, big time. And that's so very obvious in everything he does. It really is. And the crowd loved it. I mean, they ate it up. How about that entrance?
Yeah.
How about that, you know, you obviously he's, I mean, the build-up to it, Dana White and Kid Rock and everything, like you said, was incredible. Hulk Hogan earlier. But then you know he's coming out, but you don't know exactly when. How about the grand entrance of Melania Trump?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, so beautiful, so gracious. And then him, it's like the big reveal from Let's Make a Deal. The door comes open and there he is. It just the massive amount of lights and Trump lit up. It was epic.
My favorite part of the night, well, two of them. Toward the end, Donald Trump told a story about my dad loved to go to Billy Graham rallies. My dad took me to a Billy Graham rally at Yankee Stadium. So Donald Trump has been to a Billy Graham rally. I thought that was interesting. But my favorite part of the whole night, his quote, "For far too long you have been told to lower your expectations, but I have the opposite message. Your expectations are not high enough." I love that, Scott. Telling the people, don't look at what's in front of you, knowing how bad it is, and say, well, you know what, that's as good as it's going to be. That's what you're going to have to take, people. He said, strive for something higher, and people need to hear that. They need to have that hope. They need that optimism that there is a better day ahead, because right now there haven't been a lot of better days for a lot of Americans.
No, I thought he did a great job of telling them about, can't afford a home. People can't afford a home. They're afraid to live where they live with crime, and he really kind of went into the psyche of the American people, and that idea that they're not high enough. To raise the bar. I mean, it's obviously something he's ingrained in his children. I was sitting next to Julie Fedorchuk, and she just turned to me at one point and she said, look at his family. And they all love him. And they're all super successful and wonderful people. I mean, show me a good father and good kids, and you got a damn good man.
Well, like Hillary Clinton said, you can't fake good kids.
No.
And that's 100% right. Well, we want to again say thank you to Lignite Energy Council, the Brighter Future Alliance, and the North Dakota Republican Party. We're tired as heck, but we have had a blast here these 4 days. It has been like drinking from a fire hose of content and great guests, but we absolutely love it, and we've loved being here, bringing all of this home to you. And many of you can't be here at something like this and may never get the opportunity, so we've loved being here, bringing it to you these last 4 days. Scotty, any last words here from Milwaukee?
I've never felt safer in my life. I mean, this is like, you can't even believe. I mean, there are helicopters over us constantly. There's people out on the water and the rivers that go through Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's Secret Service agents and Fargo police officers and sheriffs and PD from all across the country. I mean, you don't pull off an event like this. Donald Trump talked about this $250 million that went into this event. And he said, I hope you like it, Milwaukee. Lots of jobs, lots of economic activity. But Milwaukee did a great job. Michael Whatley, the chairman, did a great job. The Trump campaign did a great job. Everything was perfect. And what's the opposite message that's coming from the left and from Joe Biden? He's bunkered down in Delaware, sneezing and wheezing, and deciding when he's going to exit the race. Yeah. There couldn't be a better contrast between the momentum and the energy of the Republican cause and like whoever they decide to run, whoever comes out of their convention, bring them on. This is fantastic.
All right. Well, that'll do it for tonight and for this week of the Republican National Convention. For Scott Hennon, I'm Steve Hallstrom saying good night from Milwaukee.